Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the physical appearance and physical attractiveness of the Capricorn Rising. But before we do get started, I just want to start off this video by saying thank you so much to all of you who sent in your images of your faces for this video today. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for taking part. Though what I would also like to mention before we do get into this, if I have not used your image within this video today, I do sincerely apologize. It's just that I have been getting a lot of images sent in to me, so I just wanted to say that. But yeah, overall thank you so much. So another thing to mention here, if it is that you like this video today, then make sure that you do give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and to of course click that little bell icon in order to keep yourself updated with further content from myself. So yeah, with all of those introductions being said, Capricorn Risings, let's do this. Right, so we're specifically going to be focusing on the rising sign in order to describe the physical appearance of the Capricorn rising, but also keep in mind the sun sign and the midheaven, because they can also provide more of an indication into physical appearance. And some astrologers also like to look for the chart ruler, so locating the location of the chart ruler within the chart in order to provide more of an insight as well. Now, I have made a physical appearance video series before, but that was about 3 years ago, and I would like to think that within 3 years my understanding of astrology has changed and I have really evolved through my knowledge of astrology. But the main difference between the previous series and this one is that in the previous series we looked at celebrities, for example, but with this one we're looking at you guys, okay, because you sent in your images to me. So again, thank you so much. Alright, so let's get into this. What is it about the Capricorn risings that is so physically attractive? So the first commonly known example is to do with their facial structures. See, what you can often find with Capricorn risings is how the shape of their face tends to be well defined and quite sharp or angular, no matter what weight or gender or ethnicity or race they may be. So if we look at their cheekbones, for an example here, they can often appear quite high or quite elevated, and they can kind of stick out a little bit, creating a sharpness or an edginess to the face. So creating quite noticeable angles on both sides of their face. And then if we look at their jawline, okay, it can appear to be very sturdy and strong. And again, you can see a noticeable angle sort of just going along here. And I even saw some angles in the face that were so well defined that you could see little dips in the jaw. And then if we bring it round to the chin area, okay, so we're following the jawline around to the chin, you guessed it, yes, their chins can appear to be quite pointed and apparent as well. Now, it could be here that some of them possess either the elevated cheekbones or the strong jawline or the quite pointed and angular chin, or it could be that some of them have a variation of two or all three. But still, it's their facial structures that is just so well shaped. Though in terms of which facial structures they have, I am noticing many variations of a square shaped face or the heart shaped face. So a lot of square and boxy jawlines and a lot of pointy chins. And I also found that a few of their foreheads were quite prominent as well. It appeared to be quite wide or high, and again you can see those angles going on at the sides, sort of really setting everything in place, so setting that forehead in place. Ultimately, I think it's their well-defined and angular face shapes that can be deemed as physically attractive. Another thing that I want to mention is to do with their teeth. Which, can I just say, not many Capricorn risings who sent in their images to me smiled with their teeth, so they didn't really show their teeth whenever they were smiling. In fact, not many of them really smiled in general, not even with their lips closed, you know, just to do a little. Still, out of those who did smile showing their teeth, I noticed that their teeth appeared to be actually really well kept. Some had pearly white teeth, others had straight and nicely shaped teeth, and I also could see that their teeth were quite small or quite short. But ultimately, I was seeing that many of them had lovely, lovely teeth and smiles that, of course, can be deemed as physically attractive. Which, quick side note, I find it fascinating how hardly any Scorpio risings smiled within their images, but then loads of Sagittarius risings smiled within their images, and then we go backward here to Capricorn risings, and then again, not many smiles. And I suppose this leads us on to another thing about the Capricorn risings that can be deemed as physically attractive, and it's to do with their facial expressions and mannerisms, and how they can appear to have a zero nonsense, stern, and a type of I will not give too much away facial expression. See, Capricorn risings aren't really the types of people to mess around or to mess around with either, or to get involved with unnecessary dramas and petty behaviors, especially if these things are not worth the Capricorn rising's time. And so they might try to really contain themselves a lot of the time, where they make sure that their facial gestures and their facial expressions and even their body movements are well controlled. They might even try so hard to control these things that they can sometimes appear kind of rigid, a little bit inflexible, a little bit awkward at times as well. And it's as if they're just calculating their every move. And so when you look at a Capricorn rising, it can be kind of difficult to identify what exactly they're thinking, how exactly they're feeling, what they might do next. But at the same time, you might also think, whoa, this person seems to know what they're doing. Even if within the Capricorn rising's mind, they are doubting themselves or fearing that they'll mess up in some way. Which you can find with them that they can go through many trial and error experiences throughout their lives, and they also tend to be quite stoic people too, where they endure many hardships throughout their lives without really complaining about them even. Now, yes, you can get Capricorn risings who do complain about their hardships, etc., but usually it's this whole mentality of you just get on with things. Oh yeah, there are reasons for a Capricorn rising's tendency to not give too much away. Just like there are reasons for a Scorpio rising's tendency to do this as well. So just keep that in mind whenever you maybe meet a Capricorn rising individual, because they've probably been through quite a lot in their lifetime, even if it is that they're a younger Capricorn rising. But still, it's their stern and serious, no nonsense and, well, mature facial expressions and mannerisms that can actually be deemed as physically attractive. Now, this is not to say, of course, that Capricorn risings don't have a goofy or funny side, because they very much can, and also it's good to look at other placements within the chart, but it's their ability to control or contain themselves that can actually be really alluring to others. It's the type of look that makes you kind of go, oh, you know, I wonder what this person would be like after a few drinks, or after a few dates, or after a few conversations. And it's also the type of look that makes you think, this person, they know how to look after themselves, or they know what they want out of life. Which, to be fair, Capricorn risings are known for moving with strategy, moving with a plan, moving with a sort of a purpose. So if they do decide to go on a date with you, for example, or they start talking with you as another example, then there's usually a reason for these things. So another thing about them that can be viewed as physically attractive is to do with their deep set eyes mixed with their heavy eyebrows. So looking at this area right here, it's this area that can just draw people in, kind of giving the Scorpio risings a run for their money. But there is something about their stare, about their gaze, that can be very deliberate and very focused, very purposeful. So to be fair, I'm also kind of thinking here with the serious look and then these deeper set eyes, it can actually make them look really very sexy and quite seductive in their own way too. But still, what I noticed with many photos sent in to myself is how their eyes were positioned deep, okay, so deeper within their sockets whilst being very well supported by the bone around them. And I also picked up on many variations of upturned eyes and almond eyes as well. But essentially, it's how their eyes and their eyebrows just working together that can be most notable. The two combined, to me, just give off a very strong look, a very pensive, serious in thought look. And I also could pick up on some of them whose eyebrows truly dominated their face due to how thick they are. And then others, you can really notice the angles, really sharp angles, being very well defined there too when it comes to that arch of the eyebrow. Which I find to be quite interesting because Aries risings are commonly known for those very pointed, angular arches on their eyebrows, sort of correlating with the symbol of the ram. But then you also have to keep in mind that Capricorn symbol also comprises of the sea goat, and of course goats have horns as well. So even if the Capricorn rising does not have the most thickest brows, well, they can still appear to be on the much more darker side, so having a much more darker tone to them. Alright, so moving along, another thing about them that can be deemed as physically attractive is how they can appear wise beyond their years and how they can appear as people who are solid and practical in their appearance and movements. So if you were to see them at a social gathering or at a party event, for example, they might be the types of people who are helping the host or who are mingling with people who need more support or more assistance. They can be very hands-on types of people. Or if you were to meet them for the first time, they might shake your hand quite firmly, or they might look you direct in the eye whenever they first meet you, or they may have this quite formal manner about them, this very respectful manner about them whenever they first meet you. And the more rapport you build with them, the better. Because the more rapport you build with them, then the more likely they're going to confide in you, let down their guard around you, want to spend more time with you. Kind of going along with the previous statement of them being wise beyond their years, it's the Capricorn risings that might be 20 years old whilst being a supervisor or being a manager of a company, for example, or they might be in their late 20s running their own business, or they might be well traveled by the time they turn 25. And what you also can find is how they can take on more responsibility and more pressures in life. So this could be them taking on far more commitments when it comes to the likes of work or family or relationships and so on. And they can also be very, very good at following through with these things as well. But ultimately, it's these qualities, as mentioned, that can really catch the attention of others, especially those who are attracted to ambitious people, driven people, to people who are goal orientated, to people who are able to follow through with things, which Capricorn risings very much can be. Of course, it's good to look at other placements within the chart, but still, if it's a Capricorn risings who they tend to go through these stages throughout their lives where these things are very, very much tested. So kind of following on from this point, I also think that their ambition, along with their professionalism, that can be viewed through their physical appearance, so through the likes of their clothing choices, etc. Now, of course, it's good to also look at the Venus sign for more of an indication, which, by the way, I also want to say that I have my Venus in Capricorn and it's making a lovely trine in my Virgo rising, so I can certainly relate with some things that I'm saying here, but I digress. What I noticed from the images sent in to me was how so many of them had well-kept hair, well-groomed eyebrows, and eyelashes too. Also, their makeup looked very well structured, very well put together, and there was quite a lot of neutral colors, neutral patterns being worn through their clothing, and there seemed to be a few of them who would wear the likes of blouses, so jumpers, cardigans, along with collars, high neck shirts, jackets, and even out of those who were more dressy, I could also still see a layer of professionalism mixed in with an edginess. Though in a much more generalized sense, I just could see many black and white color schemes going on. The last thing that I would like to talk about in terms of the physical appearance of the Capricorn risings is the commonly known theory of them looking older whenever they're younger and then younger whenever they're older. So what I want to do is I want to put this little theory to the test. So let's take a look at these images, shall we? So first of all, we have this image sent in from this female who told me that she is 19 years old, and I was a little surprised. I thought maybe she was in her 20s and just looks so mature in her appearance. And then we also have this other image sent in from this other female, 20 years old, same kind of situation. I thought maybe a little bit older. Yes, looks very, very mature for her age. And then the last image example that I want to share is of this gentleman who is 22 years old. And again, I thought a little bit older, looks very, very mature in his appearance. But then if we go the opposite direction, so people who are a bit older, looking a bit younger, I didn't really see many, though to be fair, I didn't really get the ages of everybody, of all the Capricorn rising, so I can't really analyze this very, very well. I should have been a bit more specific with asking. But anyways, it's of this female who she told me that she's 37 years old, and I kind of thought, oh wow, I thought you were way younger. I thought you were in your 20s. So could there be some truth to the theory when it comes to the Capricorn risings looking younger whenever they're older, or much more mature and older whenever they're younger? Or could it be suggested that by the time they hit their first Saturn return, then they start to appear more youthful maybe? Though regardless if it's true or not, I still think that Capricorn risings can have a much more mature and respectable and responsible demeanor about them. They're hard workers, they're self-motivating, they're self-persevering, but then as they age and as they grow, could be suggested that they tend to become much more loose, okay? A lot more flexible, less controlled. Perhaps it's these gradual, steady changes that can be seen through their physical appearance as well. But if it is that you are interested in a Capricorn rising individual, for example, just know that it takes time for them to open up. It takes time for them to be vulnerable. They really are such patient and reliable people, but it's still time, okay? It's time that is required in order to really get them into the swing of things. But essentially here, time seems to be on a Capricorn rising's side, and so maybe it's this that can certainly contribute to their physical appearance and attractiveness. Alright, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the physical appearance and physical attractiveness of the Capricorn Rising. Now, if you happen to have a Capricorn Rising, or if you happen to be one of the Capricorn Rising individuals specifically who sent in your image to me today, then certainly let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. And also just want to say thank you so much to all of you who did send in your images. Thank you, and I do sincerely apologize to any of you who sent in your images but were not part of the video today. I do hope that you understand. Anyways, that is me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and of course if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button and make sure that you give this video a like, remember, if you liked it. And I will be back with another video very, very soon.